Gib mir die Hand, dass ich sie heimlich drücke. Und wenn man sieht, mir ist es einerlei, gib mir nur einen, deine süßen Blicke, wie einst im Mai. Es blüht und duftet heut auf jedem Grabe. Ein Tag im Jahr ist ja ein Totenfrei. Aber mein Herz, das ist die stille Rabe, wie einst im Mai. Wie einst im
Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Society of Ridgewood. My name is Sarah Lindsay and I am the minister here at this congregation. USR has been meeting for 125 years. Ours is not a religion of dogma or creed, but a voluntary coming together of spiritual seekers who ask questions and who always commit to being led by love and care in our community building. We covenant to be together with kindness, intention, and commitment, ever mindful of our spiritual inheritances, a belief in the interconnection of our beings, and in a love that can change the world. Here, we hold the circle wide, as we are called to do by our congregational commitments to LGBTQ justice, racial justice, and environmental justice. If you are new and here in Anderson with us and you'd like more information about USR, you can stop literally anyone and we will get you connected to information and to our congregational administrator. If you are online with us and new, you can go check out the website or email the congregational administrator. That information will be put into the chat, as will a Google form that you can fill out to get connected to the email lists. Online folks, we hope you'll stay for the virtual coffee hour afterwards, and folks here in Anderson, we will brave the cold outside for coffee hour this morning. The coffee will warm you up, I promise. It is good to be with you. Please join in the words for lighting the chalice. They'll be on the screen. We light this chalice for the light of truth, the warmth of love, and the energy of action as we gather together in the circle of community. Now I'll invite you to take a deep breath. On this day, when we come together to commemorate All Souls Day and honor the dead, listen now deeply for the sounds of the living. Listen for your own breath, for the breath of beloved beings near you in space. Listen for your heart beating. Feel it strong and sure. It is strong enough to be present with us this morning. Broken and whole, imperfectly perfect. Breathe slowly, deep into your heart, and listen. We held our clocks back last night, an hour more of early daylight, and for the next 2 months, darkness will descend even earlier until we reach that moment of maximum night. We humans have mastery over some things. With our technology and our science, we can control so much more than humanity ever could before, sometimes to our own detriment. And yet there is so much we cannot control. We cannot control each other. We cannot control the movements of this earth, the seasons, the weather, the passage of time. We can hold our clocks, but the hours pass nonetheless. We cannot change the past, and we cannot predict the future, however we might wish we could. All we can do is stand where we are, always in between what has been and what will be, ever on a threshold, balancing all that is in the infinite dance of the finite. All we can do is be here now, present to ourselves and to each other, present to community and to possibility, hearts beating and open to what might come. Thank you for being here today for our annual All Souls service in which we mark the losses of our lives. Thank you for bringing yourselves to this threshold moment, for bringing yourselves to this beloved community. It is good to be with you.
Good morning. It's a beautiful November day, and it's great to see everyone here in Anderson and to have everybody online joining us this morning. My name is Chris Blumel, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. I have a sharing of our vision, appeal to the offering, and a number of announcements to make this morning. One of the promises that we make to each other in our shared covenant at USR is to support this congregation with our presence, our gifts, and service, and to care for each other and the long-term well-being of our community. This is a time in the service when we put that promise into action by reminding each other of our shared vision for the world and the way that all of our different talents, gifts, and support are needed. A couple of announcements this morning. Our congregational circles have been reigniting their work. Part of taking care of one another is taking care of the everyday finances, materials, and human structures that uphold this community. Please reach out if you need help determining where your talents and passions might match the needs of USR, and watch your e-blasts for information about upcoming circle meetings. Also, please note that on November 16 and 30, the Racial Justice Committee is sponsoring a facilitated conversation about the book, How the Word is Passed by Clint Smith. This book read and conversation is part of our ongoing exploration of how we will live into our new commitment to the 8th principle So please check Realm for more details, and please read the book and plan to come to that discussion. We also uphold our covenant by our annual and weekly giving. So this month's plate collection will be split between USR and Share Incorporated. About 40 years ago, leaders in our congregation recognized an urgent need for affordable housing for independent older adults in Bergen County. Along with others in the community, they created a nonprofit and raised funds to purchase 2 large homes in Ridgewood and converted each into living spaces for 14 residents. These residences offer a home-like atmosphere, meals, housekeeping, and socialization. Many members of USR have volunteered at Share over the years, and some have become residents themselves. Share receives no governmental aid and depends on rent and donations to keep afloat. Money collected will go to general upkeep and the Ritter Fund, which gives a modest supplement to those who cannot meet the fee. Please think of those USR visionaries who wanted to create a place of dignity and respect for the older among us, and give generously this November to Share Incorporated. For more information on Share, see the web address for Share in the chat. The offering will now be given and gratefully received.
When I have sung my songs to you, I'll sing no more. 'Twould be a sacrilege to sing at another door. We've worked so hard to hold our dreams, just you and I could not share them all again. I'd rather die with just the thought that I had loved so well, so true, that I could never sing again, that I could never sing again, except to you.
This morning, we will honor our grief in 3 parts, and we begin by acknowledging and commemorating the immense loss our human family has experienced through the pandemic. We begin by honoring the world's COVID losses. In each section this morning, we will start with a reading from Khalil Gibran's famous work, The Prophet. This is On Time. And an astronomer said, "Master, what of time?" And he answered, "You would measure time, the measureless and the immeasurable. You would adjust your conduct and even direct the course of your spirit according to hours and seasons. Of time you would make a stream upon whose bank you would sit and watch its flowing. Yet the timeless in you is aware of life's timelessness and knows that yesterday is but today's memory and tomorrow is today's dream. And that which sings and contemplates in you is still dwelling within the bounds of that first moment which scattered the stars into space. Who among you does not feel that their power to love is boundless? And yet who does not feel that very love, though boundless, encompassed within the center of their being, and moving not from love thought to love thought, nor from love deeds to other love deeds? And is not time, even as love is, undivided and spaceless? But if in your thought you must measure time into seasons, let each season encircle all the other seasons. And let today embrace the past with remembrance and the future with longing. Just yesterday, I made appointments for my 3 children to be vaccinated against the virus that has caused the death of now 5 million people around the globe. 5 million lives gone. That number is truly staggering. It's almost impossible for us to comprehend, not unlike the infinity of time, not unlike the agelessness of the stars. And beyond that number of dead, billions of lives, in truth, really the life of every single human on this earth, altered forever by grief, by trauma, by unasked for change. Human as we are, it's hard to fathom the scope and reach of the impact of this pandemic. I will often stand up here and say to you, open your heart to the pain and sorrow around this world, even when it's hard. In fact, I said it last week, that the courage to be open and vulnerable to the truths of other lives matters, and we should do it. And it does matter, and we should do it. But it's so hard to willingly let our hearts break, because that is actually what I'm asking of us. I'm asking us to bring into our hearts a truth that will then break those very hearts. There are times in our lives when we take risks that might cause us pain. We calculate the risk and the reward, and we determine what to do. But opening ourselves to the truth of 5 million people gone forever, children with lives still ahead of them, parents leaving behind young ones alone, elders with wisdom still to share, opening ourselves to that loss guarantees heartbreak. It guarantees tears. It's hard to step courageously and vulnerably directly into pain. It can be so much more comfortable to hide behind righteousness and science, angry with those who refuse to take the steps to ensure our collective safety. And of course, that is infuriating, and it is also enraging that privilege in this country and around the world grants some people better care, better access to vaccines and treatment and preventative measures. There's plenty to get angry about. And anger can be useful, but it can also be a mask for the pain. And anger won't carry us through the suffering, not really. So yes, some days we stand together and we righteously rail against the conditions of this world, and we promise each other that we will work for a new way. But today instead, we set down the anger, set down the righteousness, the walls between us and them. We set down any illusion that we can survive these lives without heartbreak. And we invite the tears. We let them come to do their cleansing work. The water of our tears echoes the waters that nourish the earth and sustain life. Our pain resounds with generations of humans who sorrowed as one, grieving and weeping. Because we are indeed in a season of grief from which we cannot run, and from which we need not run. Because even as we live into a season of loss, we know that each season encircles the others. Nothing is separate, nothing divided. Time and love are boundless, undivided. That is what the wisdom of ages teaches us. All is a cycle, a circle, a movement around and back again. The grief doesn't last always and forever. And knowing this, assured that joy and laughter will come again, we sit this morning with the infinite, with the pain, and with love.
Number 97, Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child, a long way from home, a long way from home. Sometimes I feel like I have no friend. Sometimes I feel like I have no friend. Sometimes I feel like I have no friend. A long way from home, a long way from home. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. A long way from home. A long way from home.
This morning, we also honor and commemorate the deaths of members of the Unitarian Society of Ridgewood over these past 12 months. This is the time when we will honor our congregational losses. This is on death. Then Almitra spoke, saying, "We would ask now of death." And he said, "You would know the secret of death, but how shall you find it unless you seek it in the heart of life? The owl whose night-bound eyes are blind unto the day cannot unveil the mystery of light. If you would indeed behold the spirit of death, open your heart wide unto the body of life. For life and death are one, even as the river and the sea are one. In the depth of your hopes and desires lies your silent knowledge of the beyond. And like seeds dreaming beneath the snow, your heart dreams of spring. Trust the dreams, for in them is hidden the gate to eternity. Your fear of death is but the trembling of the shepherd when he stands before the king whose hand is to be laid upon him in honor. Is the shepherd not joyful beneath his trembling, that he shall wear the mark of the king? Yet is he not more mindful of his trembling? For what is it to die but to stand naked in the wind and to melt into the sun? And what is it to cease breathing but to free the breath from its restless tides, that it may rise and expand and seek unencumbered? Only when you drink from the river of silence shall you indeed sing. And when you have reached the mountaintop, then you shall begin to climb. And when the earth shall claim your limbs, then shall you truly dance.
Helen Lindsay, Nancy Petrie, Roberta Savar, Steve Nellison, Marcia Spitz, Bernard Spitz,
One of the greatest gifts ministry affords to those of us privileged enough to enter into it is the chance to be present at both the beginning and the ending of a life. Into communities such as ours, babies are born, as one was this past week to the Kempe family. And in communities such as ours, people die, as we witness each year. Each new baby brings hope, excitement, the thrill of creation, and each loss leaves an empty place. If I close my eyes, I can see them there and there, where they used to sit. And when I open my eyes, now in their place I see a love that doesn't die. Into that emptiness reaches love, love which is spaceless, unbounded, capable of rushing in like water to fill up each corner of existence with meaning and life. And I see a community that remembers and thrives and loves and lives even in loss. It is a part of life we cannot control. This death, this grieving, this loss, it is a thing over which we have no mastery, nor should we. For us humans, there is no life without death, no death without life. Just as the water that rains down and the tears that stream from our eyes are one, just as the dust beneath my feet is the same as the mountains that rise high into the clouds, just as the infinite stars and the tiniest newborn are made of the same ancient material, so life and death cannot be separated. There's no division. We burst forth as one, and to oneness we return. We grieve and we sing, we sorrow and we dance. We open ourselves completely to the full range of human living, and then perhaps we reach understanding. The understanding that through it all we are not alone. Through it all we dream and we long and we climb and we seek and we reach and we journey and we hold our hands in joy and pain and love and loss, life and death all at once. From birth to death we journey in company, aware of the fate that awaits us all, sometimes forgetful of the beauty inherent in our finitude. but always capable of living more deeply, more truly, more honestly, opening our hearts wide. I'll ask you to do that with me now in a spirit of prayer and meditation, opening our hearts to the world and to each other. So I'll ask you to find as comfortable a position for your body as you can, to close your eyes if that feels right, and to breathe. I will speak some words, and then we will sing or hum a hymn of meditation. Take a deep breath. Spirit of life and love, of being and nothingness, spirit that exists in the in-between, on the threshold between life and death, spirit that moves in each of us. Help us to lay it down this morning. Help us to set down what keeps us separate. Help us to cry the tears that must be shed. Help us to be open to the heartbreak. Help us to remember and to mourn. Help us to stay courageously aware that our lives, our seasons, wrap around one another as the time passes, bringing us celebration and pain. Today, as we sit and breathe, we are aware that we form communities that hold us, and we are grateful. Partners, families, friends, congregations, those that hold us through all our seasons. Those people whose lives become interwoven with ours. Aware as we are that life and death move through each moment with us, we are grateful for the beloved people and safe spaces that offer us room to cry and to laugh, to share and to remember. We give thanks for the generations of ancestors, known and unknown to us, who have built a haven for truth and for the depth of our living. A home where tears can flow and where love abounds.
Please join in our hymn, number 159, This Is My Song. Remember, we can't sing yet, but you can hum along.
Small technical problem. Alas, can you stop the hymn? The wrong hymn was sent. Yes, so this is the life we are living, all the seasons of technology too. Let's take a deep breath for a moment. Just take a deep breath. We will skip our hymn since we have the wrong one. And let's take another moment in the silence to bring ourselves back and to breathe. Take another deep breath. Let yourself return to a place of quiet, of gratitude. Spirit of the in-between. May we be reminded that always there is more love to be found, to be created and offered and received. And may we value each and every moment we are given. So may it be. Finally, we will honor the losses we have experienced in our own lives, commemorating our personal losses in word, image, and music. This is the final section from Khalil Gibran's The Prophet, and it's from the piece titled The Farewell. The wind bids me leave you. Less hasty am I than the wind, yet I must go. We wanderers, ever seeking the lonelier way, begin no day where we have ended another day, and no sunrise finds us where sunset left us. Even while the earth sleeps, we travel. We are the seeds of the tenacious plant, and it is in our ripeness and our fullness of heart that we are given to the wind and are scattered. Brief were my days among you, and briefer still the words I have spoken. But should my voice fade in your ears, and my love vanish in your memory, then I will come again. And with a richer heart and lips more yielding to the Spirit will I speak. Yea, I shall return with the tide. And though death may hide me, and the greater silence enfold me, yet again will I seek your understanding. I go with the wind, but not down into emptiness. The mist that drifts away at dawn, leaving but dew in the fields, shall rise and gather into a cloud and then fall down in rain. And not unlike the mist have I been. In the stillness of the night I have walked in your streets, and my spirit has entered your houses, and your heartbeats were in my heart, and your breath was upon my face, and I knew you all. Wise men have come to give you of their wisdom. I came to take of your wisdom. And behold, I have found that which is greater than wisdom. It is a flame spirit in you, ever gathering more of itself, while you, heedless of its expansion, bewail the withering of your days. It is life in quest of life in bodies that fear the grave. There are no graves here. These mountains and plains are a cradle and a stepping stone. Whenever you pass by the field where you have laid your ancestors, look well thereupon, and you shall see yourselves and your children dancing hand in hand. You are not enclosed within your bodies, nor confined to houses or fields. That which is you dwells above the mountain and roves with the wind. It is not a thing that crawls into the sun for warmth or digs holes into darkness for safety, but a thing free, a spirit that envelops the earth and moves in the ether. If these be vague words, then seek not to clear them. Vague and nebulous is the beginning of all things, but not their end. And I fain would have you remember me as a beginning. Life and all that lives is conceived in the mist and not in the crystal. And who knows, but a crystal is mist in decay. Fare you well. This day has ended. It is closing upon us even as the water lily upon its own tomorrow. And what was given us here we shall keep. And if it suffices not, then again must we come together, and together stretch our hands unto the giver. Forget not that I shall come back to you. Farewell to you and the youth I have spent with you. It was but yesterday we met in a dream. You have sung to me in my aloneness, and I of your longings have built a tower in the sky. But now our sleep has fled, and our dream is over, and it is no longer dawn. The noontide is upon us, and our half-waking has turned to fuller day, and we must part. If in the twilight of memory we should meet once more, we shall speak again together, and you shall sing to me a deeper song. And if our hands should meet in another dream, we shall build another tower in the sky. Many years ago, a dear friend shared with me her father's notion that when we lose people from our lives, they leave behind a them-shaped hole. His idea was that although the hole might shrink over time, it would always be shaped in a way specific to that specific person. The idea is that no two losses are exactly the same. There's no perfect or right way to feel our pain, no perfect or right way to heal from our pain. There's no timeline for grief, no single way forward, no universal answer. There's just fumbling a day at a time, stretching our hands into the future. We don't pretend here to know what happens when we die. We, each of us, may have some different concept of human souls and their ultimate fate. I used to wonder, as my grandmother slipped away slowly from Alzheimer's over a decade, I used to wonder what would mark the moment she was really gone. Slow losses can be like that, testing our understanding of what being human and whole means. Quick losses that take us by surprise can bring our lives to a halt, leave us bewildered, wondering what brought this into our lives, wondering where our beloved went who just yesterday was here with us. And it is so human of us to wonder, to want an answer to what happens, where we go, what becomes of us. And we just don't know. Some find comfort in the idea that we will meet again, speak again, sing again one day. Others don't believe in anything beyond what we can see and know and declare that death is an end. I do not know what happens. I only know this. The beloveds I have lost, those who death has taken from me, they not only left behind them-shaped holes, they also left behind changes in me. Their lives and their love changed me, my grieving changed me. And so we meet again, time and again, in my memories, where our shared affection and the words they spoke can sing to me deeper songs, where we can build towers in the sky that alter the course of my life because I remember them. We meet again, not in life and not in death, but in memory, in waking and sleeping dreams. They've said farewell, and yet they are not gone. Thank you for sharing the images and names of those you have loved and lost. Not too long ago, my oldest child asked me how he will survive when I die. His life has been untouched by death, except in the abstract so far, and so he wanted to know what the pain will feel like, how he could possibly bear it. And I did my best to explain that there are moments you feel you might die of it, moments when the grief feels insurmountable and the loneliness pours in from every direction, when you can't seem to breathe, though your body is programmed to do so, and you've been doing it for years. Moments where your chest feels so empty you could swear it's hollow. It will hurt, I told him, and in some ways it will always hurt, but also it will get easier, bit by bit, in time. You'll laugh more and smile more, and the hole in your heart won't threaten to swallow you up. And it will get easier because around you will be people who love you, people who understand the pain, who know what it is to lose, who will let you share and talk and weep and rail and wonder, people who will remind you that even when death hides our beloveds from us, death can't hide love. Though the hole won't disappear, love will rush in. And maybe, just maybe, it will help to remember that a farewell is not the end. That in dream and memory we build towers and sing songs and dance and stretch our arms to one another. Maybe it will help to remember that love never dies. You'll survive, I explained, because that is what we're built to do. Because death is part of life. It scars us all and it comes to us all. But you are star stuff, strong, resilient, ancient, infinite, loved. And there is a light that shines no matter how many candles we extinguish, no matter how deep the night. There's always a love that shines. So may it be. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in the words for extinguishing our chalice. They'll be on your screen. We extinguish the flame, but may the light of truth, the warmth of love, and the energy of action burn bright in our hearts until we are together again. May you know deep in your heart that here in this community, your tears are safe, your laughter is music, your memories are wanted, and you are truly loved through every season of living. Go in peace.